Welcome to Daily 5 for Thursday, October 24th, 2024. Some of you will likely remember that way back in 2016, 8 years ago, a video game titled No Man's Sky was released to what I think would be fairly described as a mixed reception. This was a game that was massively overhyped. There were a lot of promises made. This was being essentially, it's like kind of a Starfield situation where this giant universe where you could do anything was being promised. And even before the game came out, many people were dubious that it could meet the expectations that were being set. And then when it did come out, it didn't. It did not meet those expectations. And some of that was absolutely the developer's fault, and some of it was the natural over-inclination of audiences to think something is going to be grander than is really technically feasible. However, No Man's Sky also became one of the things that people hold up as an example where a developer took the criticism, looked at what people wanted, and kept working and improving the game to get it to a point where now many people really regard it rather warmly. You know, all the initial stuff that was there, much of it has been fixed. Many of the promises have at least been delivered in some form, if not in the original form that they were shown. And it is generally a well-regarded game today. And it is still being developed. In fact, the reason for this 5 is I saw a post over on Engadget about a new content update, a limited time, or at least part of its limited time, kind of Halloween Lovecraft-themed expansion or story element or whatever they're calling it, where they're adding that to the game, and they're still updating this game. And the first thought I had in reading that story is, I have to go back and start playing this game, because I keep meaning to. And then I thought about why I keep meaning to go back to this game as opposed to actually going back to it, because I got it when it came out, and I was not disappointed. I loved the aesthetic of it. I thought it had this really neat art style, very 70s kind of space exploration, really good sound design. Yes, it was different than it was marketed, but I really didn't care. I enjoyed the game from the beginning. And so I've kept meaning to go back, but there's been at least 2 updates in the past, and I can't remember when these happened, but there were 2 times I remember them saying, if you've been playing this game for a while, you're probably going to want to restart your game because we've either changed gameplay elements and it's going to be difficult for you to just jump into them. You might want to relearn them from scratch. Or there is a technical reason why your old save won't load, so you're going to have to start a new game. And that's kept me from getting into it before. And there's an irony in the very updates and patching and developer work that has made this game closer to what it was originally supposed to be and has largely erased a lot of the negativity towards it, is what is stopping me from actually going back and playing it, because I want the game to just be done. I want them to stop working on this thing and move on to another new project outside of course, maintenance, bug fixes, that kind of stuff. You don't want a game to suddenly develop a bug and they never fix it. I'm not saying that. But I want them to kind of be done with this game, or at least as close to done as is relatively feasible. It's just to say, okay, we have made this game about as good as we are willing to make it. And I certainly don't think anybody could accuse them of not doing the work. 8 years of work is more than most games, most modern games. Look at something like Concord even get. So this, again, is not really meant as a criticism, but there is this weird irony to the fact that all of the updating, all of the work, all the refinements and gameplay updates and tweaking and graphical overhauls that have been done have kept me from going back to the game because I want them to just finish it. I want to start this game again, play it, and then have a full experience. I don't want to get 40 hours into it or whatever, and then they change something and I think, I have to restart this from scratch again and start all over. It sounds like a complaint, and I really don't want it to be a complaint because I credit them for doing the work on this game. They could easily have written this game off a few years in and said, hey, we updated it. That's it. We're going on to something else. They haven't. They have really polished this game up from where it started, and that is absolutely worth recognizing. But for me, it is that very update, the aggressive updating, the refinements, all the work that they've done that has held me back from restarting the game. I will go back to it. I still own it. I have my original launch copy of it, and I will play it. But I'm not going to play it till it's done. So again, it's just kind of a funny thing because I look at it and I think, yeah, these guys really turned this game around from the reaction it got when it launched. Very Fallout 76 style type of reception when it came out. And so I admire the fact that they didn't just abandon it, because many games get abandoned. Again, look at some modern examples that came after that game for studios just giving up or larger publishers just saying, we're done with this, we're not going to bother. So I admire all the work, effort, and updates that went into No Man's Sky. But in a weird twist, it is that very update schedule that has me waiting to go back and replay it later.